Hi guys, welcome to Dumb Music Fans, and today we are reviewing "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye. It's his 1971 album. Um, so, anyone have any thoughts, or should we just get into the songs?
Well, let's get this done with. Let's do it.
Okay.
No.
Um, this is a. Anyone have more exposition you want to give? Lee, you have anything?
Sure. Yeah, sure. This is What's Going On? 1971 album by Marvin Gaye. It came kind of.
Wait, this is a 1971 album? Oh my God! It's not like I just said that 10 seconds ago.
Yes, I know. I'm just
saying
it through my mind. This album came during a period after just a little bit of like historical background, kind of in the middle of protesting against Vietnam, kind of the end of this of a more musical period of the counterculture, where it was more of it was in the transitioning period from at least on a musical standpoint, less like psychedelic, like acid-based music, kind of going more towards in different directions. I mean, What's Going On is not necessarily like that, but a lot of the albums during that time had similar themes, in the sense that they were kind of going with the counterculture thing, and that's kind of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album, except it was more in a Motown sense, or in the Motown genre. Part of the album is it's kind of a reaction to it's a reaction to the Vietnam War continuing, and him asking the question, what's going on?
That's a good segue into the first track. It's called "What's Going On." Okay, so "What's Going On" is a very famous song. Obviously, I think it's probably his third. Like, his most famous songs are probably "Ain't No Mountain High Enough," "Sexual Healing," "Let's Get It On," and this one probably, no particular order. So this is a classic song. A lot of us have probably heard it before this review. I know I have. You guys have any thoughts on it? That's great.
Go ahead, Reese.
Reese, give your thoughts.
Is this like the first time I've listened to any Marvin Gaye song on purpose, bro? I can't. I couldn't. This was the start of the album. Then it was after this song that I realized that it was gonna be a hard 30 minutes. Honestly, this song is probably fine, but this music is not my music at all.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, just he said like one line, and I was like, okay. But at the same time, most people say that regarding my music. But I thought lyrically, it was alright. I thought it was alright. I thought it was a good message. But musically, this kind of follows through on all his other songs, and maybe I'll get paid for this, but I did not like the music style whatsoever. Starting with this song. I mean, honestly, what's going on with this music?
You know what? First and foremost, I'm just going to put it out there that I completely disagree with everything Reese has just said, but I'm also going to say that music is subjective. And the way Reese put it, it seemed very, very personal to him. But so I respect that. I respect that it's not your style of music. If it's not your style, it's not your style. But me personally, I love this album. I love it.
We're talking about the first song. We're not talking about the album this yet, bro. Talk about
What's Going On? I know. Relax. What's Going On? The first song in the title track is my favorite Marvin Gaye song. Probably one of my favorite songs of all time. I think it's groovy. I think I really think it's an all-encompassing kind of Marvin Gaye feeling. I mean, you take all of his other songs. Sometimes they're a little bit faster. I think Marvin Gaye always tried to like bring a little bit of the funk and a little bit of groove, and I think this song really reflects that. And yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy the arrangement. I enjoy the instrumentation. It's a fun song. I
think it's a good song. I think it's a good solid track.
Yes,
I also think it's a good song.
I didn't really have that many notes on it. I feel like I just read it's like a classic song. if anything, I feel like it does seem like a little bit like lyrically, it's like obviously talking about like some deep stuff. I will say it does seem like a little bit like dated and corny, I guess, just listening to it in 2020. Like, obviously when it came out, it was probably like really like amazing and like groundbreaking. This idea of like, oh my god, like what's going on? But just like I'm listening to it 50 years later, and I can't help the fact that my first listen to this is in 2020, and because of that, like it does feel like a little bit like cheesy, I guess. But it's a good song. It's a good, solid song. I don't have any problems with it. I don't think it's like the best thing ever, but it's not my favorite song on the album. But I think it's just a good, solid track. Gareth?
Yeah, I really like this song. Starts off with the saxophone riff. It's really jazzy. I kind of got into it. I've heard it before. I liked it a lot. I didn't think it was. I don't know. I feel like the cheesiness kind of works with. It just all works together. I don't know.
I just hate corny, cheesy things. But that's like a different
but it's
conversation.
It's sung so. It's
sung well. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is a whole album problem, I guess. So you'll see me talk about this later on. Because the whole album is very much like, oh, let's save the world. Let's like, is everything wrong with the world? I don't know. It does come off as a little like.
Yeah, I guess actually I do have I did kind of agree. I got the same exact tone and same exact kind of idea of the song when we were talking about like what's going on with the world, what's going on with this. I got that from every single song, and it just bored me. So I guess maybe that's a reflection of later on the album. So I should talk about that when I get to the songs. But yeah, also Lee, this was totally an objective opinion. There's no subjective.
No. 100% subjective. No way. No way.
All right, guys, calm down, children. All right, so that actually leads me into the next song. What's happening, brother? And like, what's going on and what's happening, brother, are basically like two ways of saying the same sentence. So I think I like this. I think this is the best song on the album, honestly. I really like the song. What's happening, brother? I think like the instrumental is like, a little more like crazy stuff going on. I think the vocals are a little more impressive. I don't think what's going on is like the catchiest thing in the world. I think the song's not necessarily catchy, but just does what it's trying to do better. So this is my favorite song on the album. Just sounds like I don't know, it sounds really epic and like this awesome, so much stuff going on, really layered. But I mean, lyrically, it is the same type of thing as what's going on. Just saying what's happening, brother. It's like oh my god, like what's I don't know. I feel like it's the same type of just talking about like soldiers in the Vietnam War, same types of criticism, I guess.
I will say something about this album. Is that it is kind of a continuative, like an album you should listen to straight through. Like it's not song for song in some ways. So I mean,
transitions are really smooth. They're actually like amazing. Probably like one of the best parts of this album.
Yeah, and to be honest, like as a holistic listen, like I can see how two songs can be very much like related. What's going on and what's happening, brother. The song specifically, it's not my favorite song on the album, but I do really like the song. I think it flows well between what's going on and the next song that we'll get to. But as a song in itself, I think it's a good listen. It still has some of those same the same rhythms going on and what's going on. So yeah, so I like it. It's a good song. It's probably not the best on the album, but again, it's kind of hard to like song for song is maybe not necessarily going to be great. But if you listen, I feel like listening to the album through, makes it a better listen. So in comparison,
I mean, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
any album listened to straight through is going to be a better listen than.
Not necessarily. I mean,
I think almost every album. We can have this conversation later.
We can, yeah.
But like albums are made in
album?
specific set order.
You think that listening to every album straight through is better than listening to individual songs?
Yeah, but that's a conversation for another time. Let's just
Let's stay on the album.
Not every album, but most albums. Anyways, but Gareth, any thoughts on this song?
Yeah, I actually really agree. It does sound really epic. It has the chorus going in the back, the saxophone wailing. The vocals are really, really, really solid. I think this is one of my favorite tracks on the album too.
Let's go, man. Do you think it's better than What's Going On? I think it is. It's obviously not as catchy. I can see why it's not as big a hit, but like I like it a little more.
I don't know. I feel like What's Going On had more going on.
That's a valid point.
Well, it's pretty good.
Next song is Flying High in the Friendly Sky. This song is about heroin. Yeah, that's why it's flying high. I get it because he's high on heroin. I don't think it's about him being high on heroin. It's about just like how that's bad and drug use is bad because drugs are bad. So I wrote that it's pretty good. I don't think it's as good as what's going on and what's happening, rather. Because it is a little slower, a little more sleepy, a little more based on the vocals, like those high pitched singing. Which like I'm usually not a big fan of tracks that focus a lot on the vocals. I'm just not that easily impressed with like vocal ability, but it's a good track still. I think I liked it. Any thoughts, Lee?
I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say that Marvin Gaye's voice is anything groundbreaking. I don't think the focus was necessarily on the vocals, so to speak. I mean, the song itself, it is slower and it's a little bit, it's not as like busy as the songs prior. I think it's a good. I like it because it kind of slows down the album a little bit, kind of takes another turn. Yeah, it's a good song. Yeah, I think I wouldn't necessarily like. I'm not. I mean, in contrast, I'm very much impressed by good vocals. I wouldn't necessarily say that's what caught my eye at this song. I think it's after listening to What's Happening, Brother. It's just kind of it kind of just slowed it down with I think it's a ride in there and on the drums, and then they just kind of slow it down, and then just a nice transition into a new kind of feel in the album.
Reese, your thoughts?
I actually agree. I don't actually care much about vocals. A lot of the songs that I really like have artists with not very good voices.
Maybe.
Right. No, so
I
I
mean,
think
like Bob Dylan's whole appeal is that like the whole joke about him is that like he has amazing lyrics and great storytelling abilities, but then he has not the greatest voice in the world, and he's one of the most popular artists and well-renowned artists of all time.
I'd go as far as to say that it is distinct, though. It is like he does have a very distinct voice.
Yeah,
I
mean, I don't know.
think,
I think this instrumentally it is like a little more like what's interesting than the tracks before it too, which makes me. That's why I said it was more focused on the vocals. But yeah.
oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, I think I like a distinct voice actually a lot more than like a good singer. I guess if I had to phrase it, I don't know, something sticks out more to me than as a distinct voice, just for some reason. And I have to disagree, Quan. Flying High seemed like a positive song to me. Who doesn't want to fly? That's one of the superpowers that probably everyone wants.
The valid completely destroyed all my points right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah, no, I actually really like this song before this, and this song it was alright.
So,
I thought it was just like every other song on his album, every single song on his album.
Gareth, what'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, I don't really have anything to add.
Yeah. It didn't feel like super special compared to the
Yeah.
last two tracks. Then the famous song, "Save the Children," where they say like a line of like spoken word, and in the background he like kind of repeats that line in like in a shorter sentence, like singing in it. That's a nice format. I feel like it's been parodied by like hip hop nowadays and like a lot of like newer songs. So I've heard that format before, but that was a cool format. I thought it was kind of like a nice like interlude kind of track almost. Lyrically, I think it makes a good point. It's about like, hey, like if you think like life has no value, then at least make the world a better place for the people next up, so that they can have a better life. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was just like a good like argument that he made, and he did a good job. Like he didn't just say it like that. He kind of did like the whole song is kind of like developing up to that point. It's making like a really good argument. So yeah, that was a pretty solid track. It's definitely more of an interlude, I feel like, than like a song. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of midway through side A on the album. So at least like if you're looking at it holistically, like getting to this song, it's like okay, we've listened to like kind of the intro. I feel like this album, like at least so far, flows pretty well. Like it kind of slowed down, and now it's getting into this kind of spoken word, and then afterwards it'll ramp up a little bit. And it started kind of with what's going on and what happening, brother, and then it's kind of come down and then it kind of goes back up.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was a good song. yeah, I thought the spoken word part was cool as well.
Reese or Gareth, any thoughts on this track?
Yeah, I thought this song was also alright. I do like the spoken word a lot, just because like as I said before, like lyrical, like musical, like our singing ability doesn't really matter to me as much as the message behind it, and I thought it was a good message. I mean,
Gareth?
I think I've listened to the lyrics a lot mostly, so I think the idea that if you really love nothing, at least provide for those who come after you in the hope that they actually love something. And I thought that was an interesting idea. So this song I thought was lyrically pretty interesting.
Gareth, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the vocals really elevate the lyrics too, and it sounds really emotional. You know, it's really
Uh-huh.
like plea.
No.
So, I mean, I mean, I know you're not one for vocals, but I feel like in this case and a lot
No,
of other
this
cases,
one I think it works well. It's a good contrast too between the spoken
yeah,
word
yeah, yeah.
versus
It's a really
vocal.
yeah,
Next,
solid.
yeah, next track is "God Is Love." This is a shorter track. I don't know the exact time of it. But this is this is just like a good dope track, just about like I don't know religion, is putting like a religious aspect behind it. It kind of just gives like all the tracks I feel like are kind of like making some plea to the world, and the track is kind of serving as like a reason like behind his plea, like why he has these views that he has, which I thought was kind of interesting to like switch it up that way. I don't know, that was like a pretty good track.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think in music, oftentimes in albums, you'll see like two songs paired together. "We Will Rock You," "We Are the Champions," to name a few. To name an example, like in that album, it comes right after the other. I think "God Is Love," "Mercy, Mercy Me," that the transition and just the pairing and how they were written together. Obviously, "Mercy, Mercy Me" is the next song, but I have to talk about both. Um, I think it's got to be. I think it has to be like my second favorite pairing of all time. Um, so
Second
and I
favorite of
think,
all time.
huh?
That's a bold claim. Second favorite.
Well, my
Yeah.
personal favorite. I'm not necessarily saying that like it's for everybody, but I mean, I love the song "Mercy, Mercy Me," which we'll get to. But and "God Is Love" is a great song too. Again, I think it is interesting that he kind of goes through this period. It goes through the first four songs that kind of it's more a plea, but and then the fifth is like where that plea is going almost. It's like what's happening, what's going on, please, and then it's finally like God is love. This is who I'm talking about, and then we'll get into the song right after the "Mercy, Mercy Me" next. But it takes some of the instrumentals in "God Is Love" is very similar to the ones in "Mercy, Mercy Me."
Reese or Gareth, any thoughts on this track?
I wasn't a big fan of this track. Instrumentally, didn't do much for me, and also lyrically, I didn't think it did much for me. I didn't actually like the lines about loving your mother, your father, and your sister. I thought like those lines especially were outdated. I mean, love your mother, she bore you. Love your father, he works for you. Love your sister, she's good to you. I thought the lines were outdated. They felt outdated. That you should just love your mom and your sister because they're there, but love your dad because they actually like works for you. I thought that didn't really exist in 2020 very well. But besides that, I thought it was okay. I don't know. It just seems like an outdated song to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good example of like when this album gets corny just because it's so dated. Um, yeah, Gareth, any thoughts?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's corny, but like, I mean, the whole I don't know, it works. It's not like out of place or anything.
Yeah,
I don't see the
yeah.
issue.
I don't know.
Like, but I think it's more. I don't think it's like. I think it's more like an answer to like save the children, because like there he's pleading for all these things, he's like crying out, and he's just like, okay, well, we can just go all love each other, it's like, okay, how are we, like, in Save the Children, he was talking about like who's gonna save us, who really cares, and he's just like, okay, if we just love each other, it should be good.
Mhm. Next track is "Mercy, Mercy Me," the Ecology. This track's about global warming and the environment and taking care of the planet, which is like this is the definition. Just like once again, like I understand at the time that like people weren't talking about the environmental issues like this, and this was an important track, and it's very important that this message was made. Um, but just the day, just like making a song just about like the earth and stuff, just feels very corny. I'm sorry, but it has a crazy instrumental. I thought the instrumental was like all over the place, and that's an overall like pretty dope track. Um, I know, I thought it was really interesting. Lyrically, it's still like saying something, even if it is corny. So yeah, I don't know, it's a good track.
I mean, while it is about global warming, I like this song a lot. But I mean, while it is about global warming, I feel isn't it also kind of regarding like I don't know the kind of the social environment as well. I mean, that's kind of what this album is all about. It's like what's going on here. It's not. I doubt it. I doubt when he was writing it was like 100% like just like straight up what he's talking about in the song, or straight up like global warming, straight up like we're destroying the earth. I feel there's probably more to it. Again, like I talked about it, and with the song before that. I mean, I think this song is a very good song. I think this is one of Marvin Gaye's best songs, to be honest. Um, like top 10 for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's groovy. It kind of it's got a very similar. I feel it has a very similar feel to what's going on. It obviously doesn't sound like exact. It obviously is not the same song, but I think he finishes off side. This is the end of side one. I think he finishes it off very well, and think I think this song, yeah, does very much does kind of this kind of this part of the story well.
I have a question. How does this song have to do with that? How does this song relate to like anything with like the environment? Like
No, I mean not.
lyrically, it's just like all about the environment. It's like where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and the south and the east. And then it's like oil wasted on the ocean and upon our seas, fish full of mercury.
Well, I mean, yes, of course, the byproduct of any sort of like conflict is going to be like or major like obviously like war, like economics, like all this stuff. Like it just I feel like it's just more about the world and like the effect there is of course of the environment. That's what he's talking about in the song. But I mean, that's not what he's saying. He's more like mercy us, mercy the human race for like doing this to the world and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean like yeah, that's kind of this. Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite song on the album. I don't know, it's just it's another one that's like really epic. I think it has that saxophone solo in the middle too. It's just wailing. Um, or I don't know. It's yeah, it's
Like,
really
all the
groovy.
bad stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's corny, but again, it's not. I don't know.
It's a good track. I mean, like
I'm not gonna dock it for being corny because it's not out of place or anything.
I like this album a lot. It's just like I think just the corniness is like my number one gripe against it. I'm just against corny stuff in
How
general.
can you hold that? I don't know. I don't really.
I know it's sad because this album was made in '71. It was not like at the time it probably wasn't corny, but in 2020 just comparing this to what else is out right now, just comparing this to how like songwriting has evolved. Yeah,
No,
it's like it's just
it's like corny for a reason, just because it's so like
yeah
this is what started it.
I mean,
yeah
yeah. Again, it's like it's the simplicity of things. I mean, if it's a very simple message, which obviously
yeah
comes out corny. I mean, people have made the art like "What a Wonderful World" is like obviously it's not Marvin Gaye, but it's a corny song. But the message is very clear.
mhm,
It's very clear, and I think when songwriting like this started to happen, it was very clear with what their intentions were and like what they wanted in their
yeah.
lyrics. So I don't know if like calling it corny is necessarily like a fault, of the
Yeah.
album.
I never said it was I like if like I'm not like at the time once again it was probably like it's just like the way I'm doing it in 2020. I think like I don't know. I think maybe I prefer like more subtlety. I don't know. Just the
Yeah,
way.
I actually did enjoy this song. I thought okay, the reflection I got of this whole album, and I don't want to discuss the whole album when we're talking about one song, but I feel like it's important. I feel like when I listened to this album, it felt like one big call to action or one big call to help to address the detriments of human existence.
That's
And I
accurate.
think and I think that I enjoyed this one the most. I mean, sure, instrumentally, I did like the saxophone bit, but I thought it had the most topical message. And I think that one of my other big problems is it's really corny because like the lyrics, I feel like the message is super clear in each one of his songs, and the message in this song is very clear to me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the problems I have. but I think this just felt topical, and I guess it's just a topic that I care about. So I think that I enjoyed this song much greater just because it's like I feel like it's a prevalent issue today, and I think it's interesting to realize that maybe this was a prevalent issue 40 years ago or 50 years ago that still is like the same problem as it is today. I think that's an interesting idea, but I think this song was probably my favorite in the album.
And when you're really like when you're really pleading and it's really emotional and you're really crying for action, I feel like subtlety is counterproductive, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's just like effectiveness, right? But like, I mean, like, obviously, it helps the fact that he says radiation underground and in the sky, animal and birds who live nearby are dying. Like,
But
also
like,
just makes it very to the point. But I'm just saying it's just like I don't know. I think I just if it was a little more like read into the lyrics more and like
but
think
if
about
you,
what he's saying,
I
and then it
mean,
makes
like,
you realize. I'm not saying that like once again like in terms of just, like making songs like accessible to people in terms of like for the time, like I understand, but just like I just think that like I think sometimes subtlety goes far, and I like being able to read lyrics and like really like think about them like oh this is what it means as opposed to just
Right,
like
I agree with
oh
well,
yeah
if you're trying to be
I
super
read them.
passionate, if you're trying to be super passionate, you're supposed to, and you're trying to reach the most amount of people possible. I mean, think about it. He's so like if you're giving a speech, why would you be subtle at all? You know, you
right.
have to be really clear.
I agree with that, and I agree with the idea that if you're trying to be passionate and you're trying to give a speech, you're trying to have a call to action. It's really like important to be clear on your problem or clear on the solution to the said problem. But I feel like that's important. But I think you have to recognize that one of the interesting parts about songs is interpreting the songs and the listener. Obviously understanding the singer's intentions, but also reflecting their own intentions and their own beliefs on those lyrics themselves. I think
See,
it's
but I
really
don't.
hard to do. Right, but I think that that's not the point of this album. I
Yeah,
think that this album was a call to action. So while I agree that it fulfilled its purpose, I think as one just whole album listened through, I could have gotten the same thing from like a speech.
well, yeah, but
That's a
think
valid
about.
point. I think that's why for me
Yeah,
like
but I don't know how you can diminish that from the album itself. Like it's a part. Like music is a part of I mean, it's a part of sending a message. Like I wouldn't necessarily diminish like a song necessarily based off the fact that one was more subtle than the other. While it could be more interesting to diminish the one that was obviously more effective, then
but effective is like not you saying like effect that's like the effect of the album. We're not rating this album based on like its impact. We're grading on
yeah,
like
but
how you think
I
it is.
get that. But just because the album went with a more direct approach, I wouldn't necessarily diminish it for that aspect. I think the lyrics are good. I think the way he conveys his message while direct was still artistically interesting, and I feel like I feel like it flowed well. I mean I feel like that's also kind of a part of the genre itself. That being no justification, but still like Motown has never been known to be like overly like, and obviously I'm generally speaking, there's always there exceptions, but Motown has never necessarily been known to be a very like weaving in and like being subtle and overly poetic. There are
Yeah.
their songs, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't get why that isn't valid like criticism. I mean, it's like just to say that, like, I think, like, lyrically, once again, like, I get that it's an important message. It's just I was spending a lot of time on this. We should probably move on and like maybe get the last two songs and like table discussion for later. But I just feel like I don't know. I feel like the once again, like subtlety goes a long way. I do think that the lyrics are it is less interesting lyrically because it's so direct. Like I'm less like involved in the lyrics because they just say like, oh, like this fish full of mercury. This shit, I get like very obviously what they're trying to get. It requires like less thought, and I'm kind of like less moved by the lyrics in a way. But
Yeah, I actually wait real quick. I have a point on that. I mean, I'm like, if I can just, I feel like something that I like to do when I'm listening to music is really get into the music. But if I can just like half pay attention to the music and still get the full message, I'm less invested. Like if I
But
have to
there's
like
more
listen
to
to the song
music than
very
just
quick.
the lyrics.
yeah,
There's
I'm
No, I
more
not,
to
realize that.
I'm not
But
saying this
if I
whole
can
album
just
was like
listen to this like when
trash.
I'm walking on the street, or like not walking on the street,
Yeah.
but if I can just listen to this like half-heartedly and still get the full message, somehow to me that diminishes the value of the song.
Again, but there's
Oh,
more to music than just lyrics. I feel like
Right,
that's
I'm saying
that's
music.
pigeonholing this album based off only its lyrics.
But I'm saying it's music.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's instrumentals plus its lyrics. If I can just like listen to it half-heartedly and still get the full and like just a full like the full like message it's trying to send, to me personally, that diminishes the value of the song a little bit.
The thing is
How
too,
does
like,
it
I'm
diminish
not
the
I'm not
value?
criticizing it. Sorry, you can go first, I guess. Oh, okay, I'll just go. Okay, so no, because
Wait, wait.
what?
Wait, you cut out there. What'd you say?
Oh, I cut out. I'm so sorry. So I was saying, I thought, I don't know, like once again, like I'm not saying this is like a 2 out of 10 album.
Well,
I'm just
no, that
saying
wasn't.
like I think the lyrics hold it back from being like a 10 out of 10.
Well,
I'm,
if you're okay, listen. If you're really as frustrated or as passionate about these topics as he sounds in the album, why would you make it subtle? He's like, it feels like he's
Pimp a
crying.
Butterfly
out, you
Pimp a
know?
Butterfly is a very, very subtle album.
Yeah, but
Okay,
why?
they use
He's like, if you're
metaphors.
like,
So it
okay,
goes
listen.
farther. It goes farther.
No, it doesn't go farther. If you think about like, okay, what makes a good speech? It has to appeal to emotion. It has to be very clear, you know. And it's not as effective if people are confused, you know.
I
Yeah,
agree.
but like once again, like that's because
And if you can get the whole impact with being less involved, that's better. That's literally better.
Well,
and
Because
I
it
get that
reaches
he's
more
making
listen to
more of a difference.
speeches.
It's being more effective. But I'm grading this album based on like how good it is.
That was more an
art.
argument against Reese's point.
Yeah.
Wait, okay,
But
but I'm not trying to listen to speeches when I'm walking to work or I'm in my free
But
time. I'm
see,
trying to listen to music.
it's not a speech. The music
does-
speaks more
Right, I know.
than the
But
lyrics
every
do.
time you compare it, you just
The
say
lyrics just
if you're
elevate
giving
it.
a speech. If you're giving a speech, you want to be direct. Yes, if
I'm
you're giving
saying
a
for the
speech,
point of the album, it does a great job at
that's okay. I just think that makes the album worse. That's my
do
opinion.
you just want to finish the last two songs really fast?
See, I don't
Yes,
think it.
that-
Yes, that was a good segue because it is we're going okay. That was side. Yeah,
That's the end of side
shelve
A.
this discussion for after the last three songs. Yeah, as Quan just said, that was side A. And then side B is next.
Yeah. I think
Um,
side B is a lot weaker, personally.
yeah, I mean it's a
okay.
3-song. It's 3 songs. So we'll start with the first song, Right On.
No, wait, hold on. Listen, it doesn't matter if not, right? If you just want to get your point across, anyway, it doesn't have to be a speech. If you just want to get your point across, you have to like, it appeals to emotion and it's very clear. You know, it's not just a thing that you accomplish in speeches. You know, it's
No,
just
okay. I guess like that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say if that's what you like listening to, if you like if you find it interesting, someone making a direct plea in a song, in an album that's supposed to be interesting yet informative of his plea or his call to action, then that's fine. However, me as a listener, I don't enjoy that. I like interpreting what the artist says as well as implying and putting my own intentions and my own beliefs onto the song itself.
See, but he doesn't want you to put your own beliefs.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
wait,
That's why I
wait.
dislike it.
Okay, so what do you guys think about the song Right On? It's the first track on side B. Personally, I thought it was like pretty decent. I just thought like it's kind of like a cool jazz instrumental. I just feel like there wasn't like a ton going on. I feel like a little bored. At points felt a little slow. And I just my thoughts on it.
I agree. I think I agree with that point. I think the song is a little bit too long. I get the whole jazz instrumental portion, but there was nothing like groundbreakingly like technically or anything overly impressive going on in this song. It was kind of just felt like a little bit like it felt a little bit slow and just a little bit uninteresting at times. But it's I mean I still like the song. I like the sound, the jazzy sound. It's just again it just got a little boring at times. It's 7.5 minutes long. I mean, yeah.
7.5 minutes is way too long for a song.
Okay,
I disagree.
Especially, it's really
That's
long.
another debate. That's another debate.
It's way too long if the song is as like, I think what you said is ungroundbreaking as this. Like I feel like it went on for.
True.
I feel like I'm okay with a 7-minute song, but it has to captivate me for 7 minutes.
That's
I feel
true.
like this
I
song
agree.
went on for way too long. I think I liked it up until I thought I don't think repetitive is the right word, but I just thought it was just ongoing and it could have cut itself earlier and delivered the same effect.
I agree.
I mean, I think it varied enough for it to justify 7 minutes. I thought it was like it changes a lot throughout the song, you know. I mean, I don't really remember it too much, but I thought it was. I didn't think it was that repetitive, at least. And there are plenty of songs without lyrics. Are you saying all of those songs are worse?
Wait, calm down, fam.
Wait, wait.
You're saying it needs to have lyrics. Every song with lyrics is better than every song
Calm
without
down, fam. Can we at least finish this? We got 2 more songs, so then we can talk about this stuff, okay?
I feel like if you had super good lyrics,
I get to respond to this.
Okay, right, that's fine. I think it's right. But if I find the instrumentals interesting for 7 minutes, yeah. But if the instrumentals bore me for 7 minutes, then no, I'm not gonna listen to it. There are plenty of Beethoven bangers that I'll listen to for like an hour, but there are other songs that just bore me.
Okay, so next song goes Holy Holy. I don't know. This is a song that have a lot going on. It's kind of like God is love. It's religious themes going on. I just thought it was a little less like impactful, a little less hard hitting.
I thought it was a little. I thought the sound was different. I thought it felt more gospel, a little bit more gospel, like in this section of the album. I think God is Love is a little bit more direct. This was more of, just a gospel feeling and more of, for lack of a better word, like a hymn almost, and just kind of a different way. It felt different preaching to God. I mean, there's 9 songs on this album, so. I think in similarity speaking, Holy, Holy, and God is Love, like talking about their meaning is fairly similar, but I thought they were different enough.
I mean, I'm not criticizing it for being similar to God's Love. I'm just noting they're both similar. That doesn't have to do with mine.
I know you're not criticizing. I'm just disagreeing.
Yeah. And you got any thoughts? Yes.
I agree with you on that one.
Oh, thank you.
You said what I wanted to say. I thought it was really similar, and I didn't get much from it.
Yeah.
He's just done giving his opinions. He doesn't want to get like flamed by Garrett.
Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I kind of like this song.
Oh, I disagree. Oh my god.
Oh, holy, holy, bro. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Last song is Inner City Blues. Honestly, I didn't like the song that much. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't think it was like super, like, I know it's about an important topic once again, but lyrically, I didn't really grab onto anything. I had the vocals, just like in general, were a lot less interesting than songs prior to it. Not the instrumental was like kind of didn't have a lot going on either, and that was a little boring. I don't know. I think this might be my least favorite song actually. Which I don't know. I kind of wanted to like this track. I do think it's an important subject matter. I'm just talking about like inner city poverty and stuff, but I don't know. That was my opinion of it.
I think the arrangement is probably the most unique in the album. It's very centered around that kind of. I think they're bongos, but the bongo kind of beat in the background with him singing. I think it was a little bit more raw.
There's a lot less like grand, big, like layered that like was happening, brother.
Yeah, it was a lot more raw. I think it kind of encompassed kind of the feeling that we kind of got from. Almost like a spoken word type thing. I know there literally was that, but I kind of got that feeling like a little bit more simplistic and maybe the sound. I thought the instrumentation was very unique throughout the album, and I did think I do really enjoy this song. I think it's groovy too, definitely. And as you said, the topic is a very important topic lyrically. I just thought in capping out an album. I felt it did what the album wanted to say justice. I think if he would have made a grand finish, I think his point would have been, okay, after this album we're done and everything is fixed, everything is all jolly and whatnot. But I feel like this kind of raw kind of ending is more just like, well, obviously we're not finished yet, and obviously, and this is a plea, like there's no way in hell like we're done with this, like. He's just, I feel like he's kind of saying we need to do something about it now.
Actually, it's a good point. Actually, just the fact
Why?
that like it purposely ends on it purposely, it purposely ends on a not like really like big finish. It kind of like keeps you like wanting more because that's kind of the point of that he's trying to make. I also think just the idea of like inner city blues, like in poverty, just kind of encapsulates all the themes of the prior songs before pretty well. Risa, Gareth, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with both of what you guys just said. I did like the ending a lot. I thought it was a really grandiose ending. I feel like that wouldn't be reflective of all the problems that he listed.
Uh-huh.
As I mean, all these problems existed then and exist now.
Uh-huh.
So ending on this big triumphant, like I feel like one, it said that I think one, not ending this way showed that one, these issues are important and we can't just claim that they're done. And I think that no, I mean, I think that it like leaves room for the fact that like another song could be created in which like these issues could be solved. But I think that though I think that you're right in the sense that inner city blues talks about poverty, and I think that encapsulates almost every single problem that came before it in the song. I think that uh, solving poverty wouldn't address every single issue addressed earlier in the album. I think that it's one of the issues that kind of leads to other issues mentioned before. And I think that saving the children's mercy, mercy me. I think that those two had problems that kind of relate a lot to the end of the album, and I thought that it was just a nice way to end off. I didn't enjoy the song as much actually, like listening to it on a standalone, but I thought in its placement in the album was a good way to just end it off and show that there's a lot more to be done, and you can't really celebrate if you have all these problems mentioned before and mentioned in this song.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree with that. I think that's the reason he put it at the end. It's kind of like what's going on, and then it ends with this song. It's kind of an answer. Like this, everyone's feeling bad. It's a lot darker, and then yeah, that's
Valid. Yeah. So I guess it's time for overall ratings of the album. So I like this album. I thought it was pretty good. I love how it flows. Suggestions are amazing. He has some really great high points. Even the low points aren't that low. It's a little like boring at times. So overall, I think lyrically, it's as some talks about some tackles some good interesting subjects. Even if I do wish it was a little more subtle, and it does come off a little corny at times. Um, and I do think it's a 35-minute album to have that many tracks. And I'm listening to it. I didn't have the track list up. I was listening to it straight through for the first time, and I was like surprised that the album ended because I thought there was like going to be like 30 more minutes of this, and I didn't realize it was like only like I don't know how many tracks there are, but
9.
9. Well, I didn't realize it was only a 9-track album. I thought it was going to have like 20 tracks, so I was just shocked that it ended. So I do think like more tracks may have like helped flesh out the themes a little more. Um, yeah, so I think I give this an 8 out of 10. So it's a pretty good album. I definitely would recommend. Uh, Lee, your turn.
Um, yeah, I mean, this is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. So taking kind of the more, I mean, I guess on my personal list, it would be 10 out of 10. Just my
Ooh.
personal, but
Hey.
I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10.
Oh.
I mean, listening to the album, it's 9 songs long. I, I think, yeah, I really do think this is a very, very good album, and just kind of the more flowing approach to each song, how each song kind of transitions into each other. But that was never like, that's not a very big thing in Motown and in soul and in this kind of music. Like you don't hear a lot of albums that's just kind of a flowing kind of straight through as side B on Abbey Road is, like how that's kind of like that one continuous song with um intentional transitions, and the same goes for this album. And I'm always very impressed by that in an album. And then musically, I do really enjoy kind of a more bluesy, jazzy, soulful arrangement with a little bit of brass, a little bit of winds and whatnot, and then obviously your drums, your guitars, your bass, saxophone. Yeah, I said that. So I mean, and its message. I know we kind of went back and forth on the idea that it's corny. That doesn't personally bother me at all. So just with all those factors, I give it an 8.7 out of
Okay.
10.
Okay.
So for my rating, see, I think that a lot of my opinion on this album is driven from when I listened to this in my life and the time period in which I listened to this.
Just like right now.
Right, which is yesterday, sure, but I mean, it's also 2020 as opposed to 1970 something, right? When this came out,
71. You said it like
71?
3 times. 1931.
1931. Excuse me. Yeah, 71.
1931. It was written in the Great Depression. And they used yeah.
I
Thomas
hated
Edison was executive
Oh,
producer.
the Vietnam War was my least favorite part about the Great Depression. But I think that influences a lot of what I say, and I know that and the messages, some of them I agree with, and some of them I didn't. I like the fact that the whole album was kind of. While I don't like its delivery, I do actually like the fact that that whole album was kind of a call to action, or just a listing of problems, and ended on the fact that these problems still exist, and we can't really do much unless someone acts. But musically, jazz doesn't really do it for me. I don't find saxophone as the most interesting as a trombonist, myself.
Wait,
If there was that trombone riff, now that would have been a different story. But there wasn't.
Trombone this would have been 10 out of 10, bro.
Yeah.
Of course, bro. I wouldn't have to listen to the lyrics at all if I heard one trombone. I didn't. I don't use that.
Yes, of course.
And I think I didn't get much from it musically or lyrically. I did like the message. I did like the messages, or at least the idea of the messages. So I give it a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10?
Hey.
All right. Gareth,
well, because the trombone's worth 5 points, I think. So.
Bro, there were no trombones in that jazz band.
Well, Reese, what exactly? What messages did you disagree?
Wait. Give your rating first, and then
Gareth will debate after.
I'm going to answer that question if it influences. I mean, my opinion is free to change. Well, I guess the messages that I disagree with, I don't actually want to. Okay, so I think that the idea of calling upon an ideal. Okay, I'm trying to say this without being out there too much, but I think the idea of calling upon something else or someone else that won't exist or will never exist to solve your issues, while hopeful, I think is misleading in the sense that you're content that someone else will solve your problems. That's the thing I got from this. I think that this song called out that someone would address it, or some. Okay, I guess. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I think that this song relied on the fact that religion could lead the way, and I don't think that is an appropriate way to deal with issues. Well, I think that while religion can lead to a good moral compass, and can lead to a lot of charitable. I think religion has done a lot of good for the world in some cases, in creating charities, just creating a general moral code that I think a lot of people choose to live by. I think it's somewhat counterintuitive to rely on the idea that someone or something will solve an issue when taking direct action yourself and not relying on an arbitrary moral compass to decide your own moral compass.
Well, see, I have to disagree with that completely, because I mean, I'm not a very religious person, right? But I think he's just saying, I think maybe you're referring to holy, or God is love or something, right? Whenever I tell people I'm not religious, or at least my grandma, at least she says okay, well, God, I'm not religious either, but I believe in God, and God is love, right? So I think he's not calling on God to save them or anything. I think he's just calling on people to love one another, which again is very corny, but I don't think it's it has to do with God, like God will save us. And even if it is like that plea, oh, like God please save us, I mean, it's not like uncommon or anything.
Gareth, do you have a rating for the album, like overall?
Yes, I give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay, so we got a 9, a 9, an 8,
I
and a
think
5.
yeah, I think it did a really good job of really dude, it felt so emotional, so passionate, dude. I don't know, man. I think it did a really good job. Even if you took all the lyrics out, because I know you guys are freaking like I don't know, ragging on the lyrics here. I mean, if you took the lyrics out, it's still really effective, dude. I don't know. That's just my opinion. 9 out of 10.
I do think I think Marvin Gaye's targeted audience. I mean, I feel like his targeted audience would very much people who listen to Motown are very much, and people who listen to soul, anything like this, are very used to the as I said before, this cheesiness, the corniness. And to be honest, I think this album very much stands out among them. Like it's not like again like it's
I mean,
not
it's not really like the Motown sound even. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
like,
very
especially with all the
different.
layered production, like in the first couple tracks. That's like some Phil Spector type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's very interesting, and to kind of go off of Gareth's point, like I don't like to go as far as to say that, like I'm not very religious either. I mean, I am a little bit, but I think God is more in a sense it's symbolic, and it's used in his music to kind of direct people, and as Gareth said, to action, like direct people to go like, no, we can't like live like this anymore. We got to end the Vietnam War. We can't be so like stingy. We can't be so racist, just different poverty, like all the different topics in this album. I feel like using like God using a religious sense wasn't as like, it wasn't necessarily intentional to be like, oh, be Christian or something. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so
a terrible ringtone. Actually, I have an interesting perspective on this. I don't care like what he's like trying to say. I don't feel like my like personal views on religion should affect like how like I shouldn't be like, oh, well, I disagree with him, so therefore I think less of this album. Like that's just his view. And I acknowledge his view, and I think he said his view in a certain way. And I'm only gonna really criticize him for like saying his view in like a way that like I think is not artistically good. I'm not gonna like dock him points or give him points because I necessarily agree or disagree with any of his opinions.
I agree.
So I think he tackles religion. I think I said it like when I talked about God is love. I think he talked about it in an interesting way, and because of that, I think I don't know. I think he did it. It's a good track, and I think he talked about it in a good way.
Well, yeah, because it's in the 70s. I mean, it's all like, oh, love each other and stuff. I don't think he was like preaching any specific religion or anything.
Yeah.
That was my point. Really.
Anyone else want to say any last words before we end this off?
I mean, I very much recommend a listen. So
yeah, I think it's definitely worth a listen. 35-minute listen. I've heard better R&B albums. I'm not sure this counts as R&B. Like R&B soul
not
albums.
really.
Soul, I guess.
This does not seem like an R&B album to me.
I don't know. It's hard for me to define the differences between R&B.
It's more of like a soulful kind of Motown album. Yeah.
I mean, once again, I don't think it's that like. It doesn't really sound like a Motown.
But I mean, it belongs. It belongs in that.
This is where you put in the
category.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
you listen departure from that type of sound.
But still, it is. But you listen to the rest of Marvin Gaye's music, then you go, okay, this might be a little bit offset from what he did before. But I mean, a lot of his music is very much Motown, very much that sound. So
yeah,
I would go as far as to say that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know any other. I'm trying to compare it to other soul albums I know, but I don't really. I feel like soul is very much like a product of the '70s, and like, you know, say like most like artists that would make like soul today, I guess, like make more like R&B type stuff, like Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
For example. Yeah. So I like both Frank Ocean albums more than this, but
I don't. I prefer Marvin Gaye.
Wow, you never heard any Frank Ocean albums?
Yeah, that is not true.
Oh, you have? Which album do you listen to?
I don't know. Just songs, little bits and portions.
Wait. So you didn't listen to? You just lied to me. You just lied on air on this YouTube channel. You just
No,
said
no, no.
I
Listen to
listened to.
songs.
Yeah, I said as a whole album. I said
Oh no, I've never listened to a
yes.
whole
I
album.
asked you, have you listened to a
And
Frank
I
Ocean
said
album?
yes.
You said yes, which is not true. 'Cause you
Yeah,
have
it's
not
not
listened to
true.
a Frank Ocean album.
100% not true.
When I asked you if you listened to a Frank Ocean album, you said yes.
So I rate least
To be com-
trustworthiness to 0.
To be
I agree.
completely honest, I
League is a
don't really
0.
know. I heard Frank Ocean and I said yes.
Yes, I asked if you listened
I
to a
did.
whole album by
Yes,
him.
yes, I missed that
Alright,
part. I missed that part. Relax. It's not important.
That's kind of important. Anyways, I think we're kind of done then. Thank you for watching. If you know why I have Big Sean as my background image in his relation to this artist, I will heart react your comment and comment good job in the reply section.
If you get
Oh
through
my
this
gosh, I need
entire
to find
video,
out right now. I need that on mine.
I will
Yeah.
Venmo. If you comment below Darth Vader, then I will Venmo you $2 if you get
It's
to this
still the
point in
same
the
thing.
video.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
dude.
All right. See you guys. It's been fun.
Bye bye.
Bye.